This video brings you a wonderful trip down memory lane. 40 years ago, steam haul trains were still an everyday event. Whether it was going on holiday from Victoria or simply going to work and school. We start this journey down memory lane with some scenes of ordinary steam haul trains going up and down Kent. Even the royal family used steam haul trains. This was en route to the Derby. It is followed by a special for the bookies. It's the 6th of June, 1953. Steam was gradually phased out. The last steam locomotives operating in August 1968. It was left to steam festivals to bring back steam trains for enthusiasts. Maidstone West and its usual train. A steam festival was held here in 1999. A huge crowd greeted the loco, a standard class 4 tank engine. This post-war loco would run shuttle trips to Tunbridge. But first the engine has to run round its train. As usual, there was a lost child to find.
That's a young boy with yellow and green shorts. If anyone sees him, we please escort him to the children's office. This is a lost child.
Tunbridge, always a very busy station, had to run its scheduled service and find time and space for the extra steam trains. After this London-bound service departs, the steam special emerges from the sidings to return to Maidstone. Stepping back now into the 1950s at Tunbridge, here there was plenty of steam engines to spot. Maidstone had another festival in the year 2000. A West Country Pacific Bodmin was this year's engine. The same shuttle service was operated as in 1999. Bodmin originally had streamline casing when built at Brighton in 1945 for the Southern Railway. In 1958 it was rebuilt and spent the time until 1961 hauling Kent Coast expresses. It went for scrap by British Railways in 1965. It was subsequently rescued by preservationists and after many years' hard work put back into service on the Mid-Hants Railway in 1979. The train was backed by a Class 33, a type once seen all over the county. This year the steam engine would not run round its train at Tunbridge and the diesel would bring it back, with Bodmin in the rear. This pretty village has a station that lives in the past. Manual level crossing gates, semaphore signals, and one man does the entire job.
When a steam train comes back, I get the bells from Maidstone West and I offer it on to Wateringbury. I'll go out and shut my gates, and when I see the train come round the corner, I'll clear the home signal to bring it into the station slowly, and then I go out, open my gates, because I've got permission from the driver that he's not going to move anymore. And then when he's ready to move, I'll go out, shut the gates, and then I'll clear the starting signal.
The train comes in on its second trip of the day. stop is made to take on water. This is supplied from a vintage fire engine. The signal changes and the train returns. Certainly a great day out for the family as they drift off home. Another flashback now to Maidstone and its buses. Even an electric trolleybus makes an appearance. Most of the trains were still steam-hauled, and as we arrive at the West Station, a local is being prepared. Other stations still had steam services. These scenes were taken just before closure. The Hawkhurst branch closed in 1961, and here is a short clip from a forthcoming online videotape to be devoted to this delightful rural branch line. Back on the main line now, and a home movie filmed in 1938 takes us to Sandling when it was a junction. The branch to Hythe is on the right. Approaching Folkestone Junction. Trains for the harbour had to descend a steep line. In those days, 1938, all the ships were owned by the Southern Railway. Small tank engines were employed because of the wooden jetty. This meant that only a certain number of carriages could be accommodated on the line. The light P-class was not too heavy for the pier, while the Z-class tanks were banned from it. Cars had to be winched into the ship if you wanted to drive on the continent. The locos had to work very hard, pulling their heavy coaches up the incline, back to the junction. Then, as now, Bodiam Castle is a popular tourist attraction. It was served by the Kent and East Sussex Railway, which ran from Robertsbridge in Sussex to Headcorn in Kent. This film dates from 1927. The ancient locos and coaches were always a delight for enthusiasts. Here the line meanders across a road without any gates in sight. Moving on now to 1952, and we're travelling on the Headcorn section. This type of coach was known as a bird cage due to the high windows, so the guard could look along the roof of the train. High Holden. This station is still standing today. Biddenden, now a private house. All this section of the line sadly closed in 1954, but most of the simple wooden stations can still be seen today. Even simpler, just a few wooden planks made up the platform at St. Michael's. Rolvenden was the main loco works. Here the long demolished engine shed and the original station building can be seen. Note the singular lack of passengers. Another incline, the 1 in 50 climb to Tenterden town. Then the station had 2 platforms. Another train is being prepared to go to Robertsbridge. The very last train to come to this end of the line was in 1967. Back in 1961, enthusiasts visited the derelict Headcorn section. But they could still see a steam haul goods train leaving Tenterden en route to Robertsbridge. However, after this section closed in 1961, enthusiast specials began to run on the line. A Preservation Society was formed. No wonder the staff looked worried. Soon, strange engines began to arrive. After many years, the line was reopened in 1974 with due ceremony by the then local MP, William Deeds. The line was gradually extended to Bodiam in April 2000. This now enables passengers to ride the trains and visit the famous castle. Just a few months later, and the worst floods for many years descended on Kent and interrupted the train service for a while. Then came another national disaster. A massive drop in passenger figures caused the railway financial problems. However, as soon as Bodiam Castle reopened, the visitors also came back. To promote railway safety and to encourage new working members, the Terrier Club was formed. A somewhat smaller steam haul passenger carrying line is the Romney Hythe and Dymchurch. With a gauge of only 15 inches, this miniature track was first laid down as a test track for Captain Howie in 1926 with just 2 engines. It soon became a public railway and was extended. More engines were brought, making a total of 7 by 1927. During the Second World War, it even had its own military train. Since the end of the war and over the successive years, this little line has given pleasure to many, both young and old. These colour scenes were filmed during the 1950s, and it shows that Winston Churchill, delivered in 1931, then had a different tender. Hercules came to the railway in 1927. It's a mounting class 482. Perhaps this little boy grew up to be an engine driver. Ramsgate Harbour used to have a quaint little pleasure line that ran upwards into an old railway tunnel to a spot near Plumpton. Electrically powered, it was used to enable people to reach the beach and funfair below the cliffs. There was only one train, and this collected the electric current from an overhead wire. Kent once boasted many industrial steam locomotives. Bowaters had an intensive layout with 2 different gauges. Most locomotives operated on the 2'6" gauge and were used to bring trains of raw materials into the paper mills at Sittingbourne from Milton Creek. Opened originally as a horse tramway, the steam locomotives arrived in 1904. Steam was used very successfully until the owners decided to phase it out. However, they wished that part of the railway could be preserved as a private pleasure line. So members of the Locomotive Club of Great Britain took it over, and now a preservation trust operates the line at weekends during the summer. Of the 2 standard gauge engines, one was a saddle tank and the other a P-class, now preserved on the Bluebell Railway. Also to be seen today at Sittingbourne is this fireless loco. It was fireless because of the close proximity of rolls of paper at this mill at Swanscombe. These scenes were taken in 1970. Having no firebox, it took its steam from the factory's own steam plant supply. In this way, it could run for about 40 minutes on one charge. Another huge paper mill factory was at Aylesford near Maidstone. Here, Howe would work all day long. Like other nearby engines, it was named after great admirals of the past. When filmed in 1968, it still seemed to have plenty of work to do. Howe was reputedly withdrawn soon after these scenes were taken. once had 4 collieries. Steam locos were extensively employed. At Snowdown, a party of enthusiasts visited the colliery to photograph and ride on the locos. This is St. Dunstan. The fog is certainly getting worse, but adding to the atmosphere. At Betts Hangar, the enthusiasts have to wait for the driver of one engine to finish his break. This driver has a two-way radio, so he is able to ask the office if he can let the enthusiasts into his cab. The engine has to run out to the tip some distance from the mine, where it can bank a colliery diesel hauling its load up a steep incline. sad to think that all these jobs and people and communities have now gone. The 4 collieries have disappeared, the last Betts hangar closing in 1988. These scenes show the remains at Snowdown today. Coal had to travel by train, and once these sidings would have been full of trucks waiting to go mostly to Wadden Marsh Croydon Power Station. Today's trains rush by without a thought of the past. But here at Shepherd's Well, one of the former colliery lines survives. Now preserved as the East Kent Light Railway, it aims to capture the spirit of a typical colliery line: tight curves and uneven track. Set in a lovely woodland area, it has a picnic site and sometimes a miniature line to entertain children. Today's engine Spitfire is being prepared on the old track that used to connect the main line a few yards away behind the trees. As there is no run-round facility at the end of the line at Aythorne, trains have to run as push-pull, so this diesel heads the train on its way back. Visitors are well catered for in the refreshment coaches.
The menu is the same as normal, it's just...
It's time for the first journey. This charming railway has many traditional features: a level crossing and a tunnel. This is Golgotha Tunnel, nearly half a mile long, only half of the width being cut out, so the other half is really chalk. Approaching Aythorne Station. This is just 2 miles from Shepherd's Well. Remembering that this is a colliery line, its sparseness is typical. The old signal box was uplifted from Sellinge and is used as a ticket office. Across the road, the line continues to Tilmanston. The mine has completely gone, and what could have been a terminus for the railway at an industrial museum is no longer possible. Tickets are checked and the train can return.
For about 10 minutes,
Yes,
is it?
yes, I went.
And then you go back?
Yeah.
Same.
During 2000, Kent was visited by steam expresses quite frequently. For example, this is Clan Line moving into Tonbridge after a signal stop in the pouring rain, another feature of the year. The other frequent visitor to Kent was Bodmin, seen leaving London. During the year, online cameras covered this train, the Cathedral's Express, on many days and at many different locations. Here it is seen thundering through Bearstead. Ashford. The construction work is well underway for the new Eurostar route into London. Bodmin arrives from Maidstone. A regular train arrives at the cathedral city of Canterbury. The express enters from Ashford. Here, passengers will leave the train for 3 to 4 hours to tour this charming city. The loco crew check the bearings for overheating. The unique over-the-track signal box routes Bodmin and its supporting coach over to a siding where it can take on coal. In the year 2001, the Cathedral Expresses were meant to be shared between Bodmin and Canadian Pacific. But in April, Bodmin suffered a cracked wheel and so was withdrawn. No expresses ran that month. We asked this couple why they had taken the trip.
It was a surprise trip for my wife. It's our 38th anniversary, and I told her she was coming out at 6 o'clock this morning. She didn't know where she was going until we got on Victoria Station, and we were actually alongside the steam engine. And then when we got on board, the children had a big bouquet of flowers waiting for her.
Started off with a glass of champagne, and that was followed up. We had coffee and orange juice any time, and for our brunch we had egg. It looked like a poached egg and ham on a toasted muffin. And we've got a dinner to come on the way home, and we've got a beautiful ride along, which looks like along the coastline.
Dover. The express crawls round a 15 miles an hour curve after leaving Priory Station. Next stop for the express, Headcorn. Here the 4 tracks are all in use during the evening rush hour. The steam loco had to use the spare bypass track to stop for about 25 minutes to allow normal traffic to proceed. This long siding was put in as a refuge for failed trains so they could be kept clear of the main line. Staplehurst. Overlooked by lowering clouds, the express, running an hour late, thunders through. Arriving at Paddock Wood, we see Bodmin taking on water. and checking the fire. Our final pictures capture all the magic of a great steam loco, thundering its majestic way through Kent.